All right, this is perhaps going to be a little bit difficult to understand, and I'm going to do my very best to make it sound logical. But bear with me here because it's not a thing that most people talk about, and it's a very, very novel way of looking at things. Actually, it should be a very, very old fashioned way, but I don't hear many people talking about it. And that is the very fact that when it comes to generating energy, when it comes to increasing your energy, you need to be working at all times, but you also need to take breaks. I'm gonna explain it through using a rather odd example from my childhood, which hopefully makes sense if you just think about it. So, back in the day, I used to have this bike, this old school bike. I was riding it pretty much all the time. And on the front wheel, there was this electric generator, which was shaped like this, like a cylindrical box. And as I was biking, and as the wheel was rotating and did its revolutions, the electric generator, which of course touched the rim of the wheel as the wheel was turning, the electric generator would generate power to a light that was on top of the bike, or on the handle of the bike. And the faster I biked, the more rotations the wheel had, the stronger the light would get. And then when I slacked off, the weaker the light would get, right? That was my first and really my most hands-on introduction of how energy works. Because the harder you work, the more energy you get. That's how it works. And the less you work, the less energy you get. I know it sounds contradictory here, but this is actually how it works. If you want to make someone productive, what do? You impose a deadline, or you impose several deadlines on them. This needs to be done by Monday. This report needs to be on my desk tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, or some such, right? Everybody starts working harder. Everybody starts working more efficient if they do have a deadline. So why don't you impose deadlines on yourself? By noon, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow, I'm going to do this. Today, before 3 o'clock, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all of these things. And then you just go do them. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing them poorly. The only reason why you're doing them poorly is because you haven't done them much at all previously. Now, I'm not talking about being sloppy. I'm not talking about ignoring the quality of your work here. I'm just asserting the notion that if you do something all the time, every single day, you can do it faster. I mean, do you think 1 second about brushing your teeth or tying your shoe? I don't. Or putting on your pants in the morning? I don't. But we all had to learn it somehow. I mean, I don't remember how it was to me to learn to brush my teeth, nor to tie my shoe. Or I remember vaguely that my parents would teach me how to tie a shoe because I didn't know how to do it when I was a kid. But then eventually I figured it out, and now it's second nature. Same goes for brushing my teeth. Same goes for putting on my pants. Right? But we all had to learn these simple things. So why don't you make your work simple as well? If that means recording a video, building a website, just doing anything, whatever that means, just go ahead and do it, because that will give you more energy. It is as simple as that. Anybody who refutes that, and refuses that for that matter, don't know what they're talking about, seriously. Now, here for the self-contradictory part, and bear with me here. You need some fun in your life. Yes, it's fun to work, and it's fun to see the result of your works, and it's fun to make money, and it's fun to get your accolades. But you need to have some fun as well. You need to think about what makes you smile. Now, I can't tell you that. I can tell you what makes me smile. I can tell you what I don't like. But only you know what you really like and enjoy. Right? And I'm talking about these little small things. This is actually something that I heard from Esther Perel, who made her appearance on the Diary of a CEO podcast recently, a couple of months ago or so. And she said something interesting, that life is lived in the details. Think about that. Life is lived in the details. It doesn't really matter if you don't make $1 billion in your life, or if you don't become the world's best at jujitsu or some such. It doesn't really matter, because would that have made you happy? Maybe it would. Maybe it would have made you happy. I certainly couldn't care about it. I only care about mastering my jujitsu and becoming better than I was yesterday. And I also care about making more money than I did yesterday, so that I can live a comfortable life according to my premises, because that's what's important to me. I don't let other people dictate my happiness. And because of that, I focus on these small things in the life that matter to me, in conjunction with working hard and imposing deadlines on myself all the time. You need to do the same thing. Else, this is not going to work. Else, you're just going to be doing the mission for someone else, and you're going to end up sad, miserable, broken. It's going to be awful. You're in for a crappy life if that's what you're aiming at. And by the way, I'm talking to myself here as well. I'm not perfect all the time. I make mistakes all the time. I mean, today, for instance, I actually chose to sleep in deliberately. And it made me feel a little bit bad. Look, I got this coffee stain here in my cup. I'm gonna wipe it away. Like this. Oh, I saw there were other coffee stains there as well. My point is simple. Today I slept in because it felt so good, and because lately it has been so humid, and it has been so, shall we say, not difficult to sleep, but it's been so uncomfortable trying to get to sleep because of the humidity, that I've been struggling to sleep for the past 2 or 3, or the past week actually. So today, I just chose to indulge in sleep and sleep in. And it felt so good. And it was so good. And I was so happy that I did it. Now, excuse me. Did I lose a few hours of my day because of that? Yes, I did. But I didn't lose them. I chose to spend them not asleep, but I chose to spend them in bed, just thinking about how good it was to relax and to sleep in for one single time in my life. I'm not going to do it tomorrow. I'm not going to do it the day after tomorrow either, because I have a fairly strict morning routine. But every once in a while, I like to break that routine, because rules are meant to be broken, because there's always going to be exceptions to the rules, right? There's always going to be exceptions to the rules. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Think about it. What rules can you break in your life? What rules can you twist and bend to your own advantage? I'm challenging you. And there's no right or wrong answer here, but that will give you more energy. Really. And I'm talking about mental energy here. See, that's another thing. I actually did something, by the way, this video is going to be all over the place, but I don't really care. I did something very interesting the other day. I was Googling how to increase your energy, or how do I increase my energy? And lo and behold, all the regular stuff showed up. Get your sleep right, get your diet right, exercise, relax, avoid stress, all those things. And whilst I agree that they're important, because they really are, especially getting your diet correctly and sleeping right and exercising correctly, because a strong body means a strong mind. There's no question about it. And it also means that people who have gone through a, shall we say, transformation body-wise, people who have been fat and then have lost their fat and have started to accumulate and build muscle, like myself, for instance, because I'm going to use myself as an example. By the way, I lost Let me see, I need to do the calculations in my head. Yes, I lost around 80 pounds. 80 pounds or 45 kilograms roughly of fat. No joke. No joke. I did. Because I wanted to. I needed to. I was fat. I was miserable. I was on my way to to becoming sick and unhealthy. I was actually a walking heart attack waiting to happen in slow motion, or type 2 diabetes, or perhaps both. Anyway, so that gave me more energy. I'm not gonna lie, it's very important. But I'm talking about energy, mental energy, or mentally wired energy, and why that is so important. You see the motivation. Because if you wake up in the morning and everything is a drag, and you're feeling bored, and you're feeling sad, and you're feeling tired, and everything is off, then there's something off in your head with your energy. And that's not the same thing as the physical energy. Because we all know that if you eat correctly, and if you exercise correctly, and if you sleep correctly, your energy levels will increase. Your physical energy levels, right? I mean, if you go to the gym and you start lifting a weight, and after a while, you can lift heavier weights. Why? Well, because you eat correctly, your technique improves, you sleep correctly, and you also build more muscle. And when you build more muscle, you become stronger. I mean, that's a fact. Those are the broad strokes, and that's the easy part. I'm talking about the mental energy, the willpower. That's what's hard. That's what's tough. That's what so many people are struggling with. And at times, that's what I feel is challenging as well. But I've learned to master my thoughts because I know how my thoughts work. I'm going to give you an example here because this is very, very important. Usually, and it's so weird, I don't know how or when or why. I don't know why my brain works this way. But whenever I wake up in the morning, I feel not depressed, but I feel not motivated. I feel a little bit sad. I feel a little bit down. I feel blue. I have like the morning blues. It's weird. I don't know why. I don't know why. There's no reason for it. Then as the day progresses and I do all the stuff that I'm supposed to do, or that I want to do, things get better. And by the time it's evening and night, I feel so ecstatic. I feel so joyful. I feel so happy. And I don't want to go to bed. Really. Even though I'm a morning person. And then it all crumbles and falls to dust the very next day. That's how my brain works. I don't know why. I've just gotten used to it. Maybe I should seek out therapy or counseling. Or maybe not. I mean, why should I pay someone to hold on, what's the word I'm looking for here? Why should I pay someone to confirm my thoughts? That's not productive. That's not useful. It's just dumb. Anyway, my point is this. Because I know how my brain and my thought patterns work in the morning, I can disregard those thoughts because I know that that's what they just are. They're thoughts and they're evanescent. These are feelings and emotions that can't or won't have any effect on me because I know how to master them. I know that I just have to go get through the first 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and then things will get dramatically better, exponentially better. And actually, it's pretty funny because I had a friend once who said that his life was completely the other way around. It was good in the morning, but then as the day progressed, it got substantially worse and worse. And by the time evening hit, he felt so bad. He was doing so poorly. He was doing so bad in the evening, at nighttime. And as such, his energy levels would decrease, which is pretty interesting because my energy levels increase during the day. And by the way, I'm talking about the mental energy because physically, I'm doing very well. Physically, I'm waking up in the morning and I'm, boom, let's rock and roll, baby. I'm ready to go. But it still doesn't take away the fact that I'm feeling a little bit low. No, bo-ho, woo, wah, 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 woe is me. I'm not sitting here to complain. This is not a pity party. This is not something that I'm telling you to what's the word I'm looking for? To receive consoling or support, because I don't really care about it, because I know how my brain works. I'm just using myself as an example here, because it might be other people out there who are experiencing the very same thing. And if you are, then know that this mental energy, which is, by the way, far more important than your physical energy, really, because it was the mental energy that made me want to lose the weight and get in shape. Think about that. Think about it well, because it's so important. The mental energy, yeah, the physical energy, it's good. It's important. I'm not gonna lie. There are plenty of good sources for you to check out. There's always some sort of a gym bro or a fitness bro or some influencer that'll teach you about how to get in shape. Go to the gym, lift weights, sleep correctly, don't eat processed foods, cut down on carbohydrates, don't drink alcohol, all that kind of stuff. We all know that. I'm not gonna, and by the way, I'm not gonna dispute it, because it's true. But something else that's also true is how important the mental energy is compared to the physical energy. The willpower, the genuine motivation, your way of dealing with your thoughts, your way of controlling your thoughts and accepting them. Are you master of your own thoughts? Because I am. Are you? I mean, when you have a tick, when you have an urge, are you strong enough to walk away from it? Doesn't mean that, and it can be anything. Do you feel the urge to watch porn and wank off? Do you feel the urge to eat chocolate because you haven't had some in a couple of days? Do you feel the urge to not train because your body is so sore after the training session yesterday? Do you feel the urge to just watch a movie? Do you feel the urge to not work on yourself? Do you feel the urge to just lay in bed? Can you resist it? Oh, and by the way, I know how this sounds self-contradictory, because I just gave in to one of those urges today, because it was planned, because here's the point. Once in a while, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, rules are meant to be broken. Nothing is perfect, nothing is 100%. But in general, I don't eat chocolate every single day, even though I love chocolate, I'm not gonna lie. In general, I eat meat and eggs and rice every single day. I love that too, but I love chocolate more. But every once in a while, I allow myself to break the rules. I just have to hammer this point home because it's so important. And also, if you allow yourself, if you set up your life so that you can break your own rules once in a while, it gets so easier to motivate yourself to work hard. That's the mental willpower that you need to master. Seriously. Because I don't know who said this. I think it was Jimmy Carr, the British comedian, who said it in a podcast appearance the other day, that you have 4,000 weeks. That's approximately, I think, 83.42 or something years of life. So you have 4,000 weeks, and then that's it. Now, he's not religious. He's not a believer. I am. So I think he's, I think he's going to hell, which is sad, but whatever. I don't really care. I believe I'm going to heaven because I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ as my Savior. I'm religious. So I believe in an afterlife. But even with the afterlife, I love this life on this planet Earth, and I don't want to leave it behind anytime soon. Yes, I think that I'm going to something better, but it doesn't mean that I want to leave this life behind either. So anyway, from the perspective of not wanting to leave your life behind, you only have these short years before it's all over. Think about it. These are the deathbed wishes that you can think about. Oh, and by the way, if you talk to older people who are in retirement homes, who are about to die and so on, they all pretty much say the same. I wish I spent more time with my family and all my friends and so on. And truth be told, I personally could do or should do that. I probably should. I mean, yes, I'm blessed that I have people who are close to me with whom I can spend time and communicate with. That's fine. Not everyone has that. And if you don't have it, then you need to go out and meet people. Just say hi to someone. Once again, this video is a little bit all over the place, but it all makes sense from an energy point of perspective, because mental energy is vastly different than physical energy. But here's the key point. The physical energy amplifies the mental energy. It does. Physical energy amplifies the mental energy. If I were fat and overweight, I wouldn't have had the physical capacity to go out and talk to people, or to spend time with people, or to walk around for long periods of time without eating, without resorting to eating. It actually reminds me of a former boss I had, who said something along the lines of, look, if I don't get fed every 3 hours, I'm gonna get grumpy, or some such. Right. And he was recounting the story about how him and some other relatives or friends of his were out walking, and they sort of like, this relative or friend of this individual, my boss, had planned this long ass excursion without any food, and it was supposed to last for 6 hours or something, and he was just telling me how, look, I just can't do this. At the very least, we'll have to stop and eat a pizza somewhere, at the very least, right? And back then I was also fat, so to me it made sense. But now, of course not. I don't care. I can eat a pizza after the excursion is done, because I do have the mental capacity to it, because I do have the physical capacity to it. So yes, don't underestimate the physical energy aspect of it. It's very, very important. This is actually why I'm sitting in gym clothes right now, because in an hour or so I'm gonna train hard, because that's pretty much what I do every single day. But then I'm gonna focus more on my mental mental, psychological, spiritual energy. It's that important. So I'm gonna end on this note, because this rant has been going on for long enough. But if you're interested in learning more about spiritual mental energy, then go and opt into my email list via the link below in the episode description, and I'll talk to you there. Bye-bye.